James and I randomly got together 6-7 years ago, whenever it was, for a Nando's.
Why don't we do it then?
Yeah, why don't we just
Let's
do
go
it?
and do it.
I came across this quote from a friend of mine, and the quote is, when the odds are 1 in a million, be that one. And basically what it means is, why not give it a go? You never know what might happen. You know, I had this idea of the Digital Accountancy Show and James doing his thing, and I remember meeting Brad Burton at a 2020 innovation event. And that was almost like the final stamp of approval that I needed to go, right, I'm going to go home and I'm going to effing do this.
So Dad and I set up the Digital Accountancy Show 6 years ago. We've grown to become quite a big event now in the accountancy calendar.
We wanted to create something really unique alongside and doubling down on really thought out, meaningful content.
We also wanted to create an event where it was an experience, Dan, wasn't it? It didn't just look good. It was an experience, like in terms of different type of content that you might not get at other events. Just felt there was an energy in the room that was different to any other event.
The brand, the music.
Yeah.
I went to Las Vegas and I went to see the Swedish House Mafia at Excess nightclub, and it was all going off and stuff, and then all of a sudden this kind of big burst of fire came out of the top of the hotel, but you could feel the heat, and just feeling the heat just made me go, wow, that's pretty cool, pretty special. So when we looked into it and realised, well, actually it's pretty good in terms of like the investment and stuff.
But we kept it a secret to ourselves.
Yeah, when we turned the lasers on for the first time.
Oh, that was amazing. Yeah.
This is cool.
We've been very fortunate to go on this journey together. Has been brilliant, isn't it? Because I think starting a business by yourself, pretty scary, really.
Talk to us about the early stages.
I've still got PTSD from it. We had done 9-10 months worth of work on the show. I was all in financially, like I used all my savings that went into the business and just paying the mortgage and bills at home, so I was kind of all in down to my last like 500 quid, whatever. And then you start seeing the news reports that this kind of virus is going around, and actually it just got worse and worse and worse.
Our first event was due to be March, and January was when COVID all started.
Something that hasn't happened in 100 years happened to fall in the one month that we were due to run our event.
I'll tell you what we won't forget though, is just the support we had from the accountancy industry, because a lot of people already paid us money for their stands and virtually nobody asked their money back. You'll never forget that.
No, that will,
it's just amazing.
That will live with me forever.
Hello and welcome to another episode of When It Matters, the Meshed podcast. My name's Derek. I head up our partnerships channel with accountants here at Mesh, and today I am joined by two people that I'm super excited to have on the pod, two ex-colleagues of mine, friends, and two people that I look up to in industry and in business, James and Dan from the Digital Accountancy Show. Guys, it's such a pleasure to have you here. I genuinely am like so happy that you are on the pod today. Oh, it's quite surreal as well, though.
It is. It's lovely to see you, Derek.
Yeah. So, for anybody, I mean, I can't imagine there's too many people that's going to be listening to this podcast who don't know who you guys are. But for anybody that doesn't, could you do a wee introduction? So, to you first, James.
Well, you probably don't know me. You know him probably more than me. But so, Dad and I set up the Digital Accountancy Show. How long was that? 7 years ago,
I think.
Yeah. 6 years ago. But before that, I've been working in accountancy for about 20 years, and I used to run other events in like the tax investigations conference I was involved in and set up. Run lots of webinars. I did run a tax recruitment company as well. But yeah, it's Digital Accountancy Show, which we've grown to become quite a big event now in the accountancy calendar, which hopefully a lot of you have been to before who are listening. So that's me. I'm starting to ramble, so over to you, Dan.
Yep. Hi everyone. So like James says, set the business up in 2019 following a bit of time working for Xero. And in my time working for Xero, I could just see the amount of change and transformation happening in the industry right across accountancy and finance. And whilst a number of firms were kind of transitioning onto the cloud with change management, and they just really got it, there was actually a big proportion of the market that actually were kind of stuck a little bit, struggling with a bit of change management, communicating it to the team, to the clients, and along with that, the cloud ecosystem just really exploding. I felt like there was a gap in the market for an event to really kind of focus on all things digital transformation for accountants. Before that, I worked with James and yourself for PFP, which I'm sure we'll touch on, where we were kind of serving the accountancy market across a range of different products. And then outside of that, I've worked in media and events. in dental media and in construction media randomly. So just it's quite fitting that I just put the accountancy world and the events world together, and the Digital Accountancy Show was born.
Yeah, and I mean, what a show it is, and I'm sure we'll go into that in far more detail as we go through. But I guess when it came to the Digital Accountancy Show and that idea of it, because I always remember Dan, and there is a I suppose a challenge with this episode that I might end up just wandering into conversations that we've all had over the years.
We haven't caught up in a while.
But I remember we used to like spend a lot of time together when I'd be down in London, and we'd speak about like different ideas and different things. I also remember, and I won't go into this, but my idea that I had that you said you should absolutely do that, and I didn't, and I wish I did.
I remember it. The drinks QR code on the tables. Yeah,
QR codes before
as
they
well.
were a thing. But I always thought Dan's going to do something. Was there you kind of said that you kind of seen it, but was there a light bulb moment where you went, no, this is the idea and this is what I'm going to do?
I don't think so. I think like my journey is I've wanted to be an entrepreneur or a business owner for as long as I can remember. And I think it comes back to a couple of things, like as a child kind of growing up, and one day kind of like, when I've thought about this in previous podcasts around kind of where does that drive and kind of desire to come from to one day start your own business. Like when I think back to my childhood, I was always nearly getting into the school football teams, or nearly quite kind of made the top set in school, and
I just semi-pro footballer. So
I worked hard at it post school. At school I was kind of in and out, and just I think a lot of like when I just want to do, the reason why there's a bit of drive now is because I just want to do that kind of younger version of me proud almost. And then James and I were lucky enough to work for an entrepreneur who had kind of been there and done it, and that inspired me a lot. My first job out of uni, pretty much, the guy had built the business and sold it in the time that I was there, and James kind of knew him even longer than me, so that's kind of always been in the back of my brain. And it's just something I've always wanted to do, and James and I randomly got together 6-7 years ago, whenever it was, for a Nando's.
That's it. We started at Nando's.
We started at Nando.
I think I said, I've got this business idea, and you said, I've got this business idea, and we talked both through and, well, why don't we do it then?
Yeah, why don't we just
Let's
do it?
go and do it. And like what I would say is we've been very fortunate to go on this journey together has been brilliant, isn't it? Because I think starting a business by yourself is pretty scary, really, and to have someone that you can have a moan to, celebrate your successes with, just bounce ideas off has just been brilliant, I think, for both of us. And also just to, the first year of starting a business is so tough. I'm sure it is for 99% of business owners, and you to have someone that can keep pushing you and keep saying, "Go on, it's going to be all right. We're going to do it. We're going to, we're going to make this work."
I'm completely in awe of people that do it alone.
Yeah,
people
huge.
that set off on their own. They've got no real kind of people to kind of share ideas with or bounce ideas around, and like you say, have a moan to and stuff. Like, I think it's such an admirable thing to set up a business by yourself. Lone Ranger sort of thing, and I've got so much admiration for those people, and we've done it kind of together. And the nice thing about us is because we'd worked together before, for a number of years, we kind of know that we both work hard. We know our kind of strengths and weaknesses, and so that was quite
I think
good.
We think quite similarly on a lot of things as well. I mean, I think that's the one thing I'd say is going into business with someone else has been a brilliant experience, but you need to make sure, I think, that person quite well, or of people who know them well, because it's quite a risky thing if you went into business with someone who've never worked with them before. Don't want really what they're like as people. Whereas we knew each other really well, we got on very well. We were mates, but we were work colleagues as well, and we knew we had a great work ethic, like you said, which is sort of you knew each other would be working hard to try and make it happen. And
you hear so many stories where partnerships just fall apart and it gets quite nasty and stuff, and whether that's because goals aren't aligned or you just don't really know that person inside out, and traits come out down the line that you're not a fan of, but luckily, touch wood, we haven't.
Did you still like each other then?
Haven't had much of it. It's been the odd thing, as there ever is, but it's like a marriage,
I like
isn't
him,
it? You got to work
like
it.
Me, but No,
That's
we've been
good.
very lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know one of the things you touched on there, and it's probably, I would say, the thing that you instilled into me, and I think all of us, when we worked together, is that work ethic thing. I've always said, yeah, and this isn't about me, but like, I don't have a huge amount of skills, but what I'm prepared to do is work bloody hard, and that really came down to the way that, like, you never drilled it into us, you just somehow, I mean, you and obviously there was Kevin as well, who was you know, the MD of the business that we worked at as well, but you guys made, like, I wanted to run through walls for you guys, and I think that was the biggest thing. And it's probably, you know, when I launched my own business, and I did do it on my own, stupidly, but I had people like you and other folk who I could turn to when I needed a wee bit of help, or a wee bit of encouragement at times. But yeah, I think, I suppose it's more of an observation than a question there. But that's
a
work
really
ethic
valid point. Like, James doesn't have much going for him, but one of the things he definitely has is a really, really good work ethic. How do you install that into, like, when Derek and I are working for you in our PFP days, like, how do you install good work ethic into the team, and, like, you know?
Well, I'd say, like, a great phrase I heard actually from Alex Ferguson, the football manager, is working hard is a talent. And I don't think people often see it like that, but I think that's just a great phrase. But I think, for me, it's leading from the front. You've got to, if you're working hard, I think that people will feel almost like it's a bit embarrassing if I'm not, you know, copying what they're doing and stuff. So that was one thing. I think, you know, when you interview people, it's trying to, if you need people at, you know, working in sales, you've got to work very hard, haven't you, really, to do well in sales. Say, as an example, I think you've got to recruit people who seem to have a hunger to want to do well, and they've clearly got a motivation to want to work hard, because you've got to have some sort of motivation to want to work hard, really, haven't you? You're not just going to wake up and go, I'm just going to work hard today for no reason at all, you know. So that's sort of quite important. And I think,
I remember we did that in one of our sessions once, in one of our sales meetings.
Yes,
I think we did a goal setting hour or whatever it was in one of our kind of sales meetings years ago.
Yours was a sports car.
Oh, was it? Great. I still get to achieve that. I can't remember. But
I think I remember the session. I can't remember.
We definitely. I remember kind of like writing it all down, and just, you know, I saw something online the other day that said something like, you know, if your why is powerful, then the how is easy. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? And if it's, like, compelling enough, if it's family orientated or kid orientated or something really meaningful to you, or the purpose is really meaningful to you, then it will make kind of getting up early and working late a doddle.
No, I agree with that. I mean, there was definitely a point in my career where I felt that money was the biggest driver, but then when the money came, and this was kind of after I left PFP and went somewhere else. Not at all. You guys were very generous and helped me a huge amount and kind of my personal life. But went to a role when the money was great, but the kind of atmosphere, everything, it was toxic. It was horrible. And I realised at that point that it wasn't about the money. It was about something else. It was that purpose, that drive, that really kind of made me want to do what I do. And I guess sometimes, well, certainly what I've found is that sometimes being in a bad situation is actually a good thing, because it really then allows you to kind of fine tune what's important to you. So I guess there it kind of leads into a bit of a question: is what's the why then? What's the purpose for you guys?
So for me, my kind of what's really driving me at the moment is, you guys would know this, and some people might know this. My 5-year-old has got a condition called Usher syndrome, which is basically he was born deaf, and when he hits his teenage years, he's going to begin to lose his sight as well. And when we found this out, which was a couple of years ago, we had meetings with the consultants and the doctors at Moorfields Eye Hospital. The deaf thing, like, you know, you have hearing aids and he can hear, but the sight thing, that's, like, you know, pretty crap, isn't it? But we were kind of we were sitting down with the consultants and we were just inquiring into the trials and what's being done to fix this. So what's being done, what is there government support, what are some of the things you're working on at the moment, what should we be aware of, what websites can we plug into to keep up to date with it, are there trials happening? And the long and short of it is there are trials happening, but it's not very well funded. Mm-hmm. They rely on parents, they rely on kind of charity balls and dinners and a bit of charity donation as well. And I went away thinking, right, how can I go and raise some money and all this sort of stuff. And then I watched a video, and it's actually the same video I referred to earlier, which was the why. He goes into the why, and if your why is powerful, then the how is easy. And then he says, like, why not? Like, why not? Why not do it? Why not try and save people from oblivion, and why not give it a go, sort of thing. And then the third thing he says is, why not you? Like, why can't you be the guy? Anyway, long story short, my drive and my kind of motivation is to try and help Moorfields Eye Hospital to find a cure for these eye diseases. So that's kind of like every time I'm thinking about, shall I make this call, or do I need to get out of bed and get to work and get the laptop open during the evenings or whatever, I just start thinking about this kind of this why, which actually feel very lucky that I found it, to be honest, because it's so powerful that it makes kind of getting the laptop open at 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night really easy.
Yeah.
So I'm really fortunate from that perspective. Obviously, it's not great what's happening with Oscar, but I think I found a really, really powerful why, and the impact we've had so far is small. We're just kind of in the initial meeting stages and all that kind of good stuff, but hopefully down the line we'll be able to make a more significant impact. So that for me is what's really driving me at the moment.
Well, I can't better that answer, so I'll just leave it.
You win that round, Dan. But I mean, it's an incredible why, and I've got no doubt that you'll do stuff that's going to help to improve the chances for Oscar and for other children as well. So best of luck with that, mate. So that's I'll not ask you because like you said,
rubbish after that. Yeah.
I want to play more golf.
I would say, like, going back to that whole motivation thing, I don't think many people are really truly motivated by money. Though everyone says that,
I think we are until
I think it's nice to have a decent standard of living and be able to go on a nice holiday and live in a nice house. That's lovely, and obviously we all aspire to that. But I think most people, there's other drivers, and it's perhaps trying to understand what the drivers are for that person to help them achieve it, but also to motivate them and things.
So I guess one of the things, and this is Dan, it was something I'd seen that you put on. I think, if I remember right, you've also had it at the Digital Accountancy Show this year, but then you spoke about it on another podcast, which is about this whole 1 in a million type thing. And for anybody that's not heard of it, I think it'd be good to share that, because it inspired me, and I'm sure it'll inspire anybody that hears about it.
Yeah. So I came across this quote from a friend of mine, Seb Carmichael Brown, who had basically put it in a frame and given it to his brother, either for his birthday or as a gift or something. And I saw it for the first time. I thought, wow, that is cool. And the quote is, when the odds are 1 in a million, be that one. Mm-hmm. And basically what it means is, it kind of comes back to what I was saying earlier around, why not give it a go?
Yeah.
You just never know. You never know what might happen. And the reason why I put it on the start of the Digital Accountancy Show, when we opened with it, so the kind of all room went dark, and then the kind of quote came up on the screen, and it's just to try and motivate. Someone might just need that final push to get over the line, and I did. I remember, I had this idea of the Digital Accountancy Show and James doing his thing, and I remember meeting Brad Burton at a 2020 innovation event.
Yeah.
And that was almost like the final stamp of approval that I needed to go, right, I'm going to go home and I'm going to effing do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of like, sometimes people just need that final push or bit of inspiration, and you never know where your life might go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously doing our own thing now, and what we've done over the last kind of 6-7 years, we would kind of vouch for it all day long, not from a business perspective, and not necessarily like from an impact perspective you can have on an industry as well, but like from a personal freedom point of view as well. It's been quite nice to kind of work for yourself and have that bit of flexibility around home, work life and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's something that I'm actually going to get that framed and put into my own house somewhere as well, because it's a message I want to pass on to my kids as well. And there was another phrase that's something very similar actually, and I heard it off Joe Wicks, and he said something like, if you're going to miss the bus, miss it running.
Yes, I've heard that.
I just absolutely love that. Like, if you're going to, give it everything, if you're going to go for it, give it everything. And if you fail and you fall up short, that's absolutely fine, because you're giving it everything you got.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
James, you always had good quotes, but most of your quotes came from autobiographies of
sports Alex Ferguson,
Rory McIlroy,
which probably is why it appealed to me, because I love sport. But like you would always come out with some good ones. Is there anyone that's your kind of current
now?
Rory McIlroy, best golfer in the world.
Yeah, that's quite a good one actually. Or I think it's Tiger Woods actually.
Tiger Woods used to use. Back then it was Tiger Woods.
So Tiger Woods was the best golfer in the world, probably the best golfer that's ever lived. But he has lessons every day. So he basically has training. He's always trying to improve. He never sort of sits on his laurels and thinks he's got it cracked. And I think that's sort of a really important thing with business and life, isn't it? It's just to keep wanting to get better and keep trying to find new ways in which you can do things better and be different. And
I think anytime you stop trying to improve and you stop trying to learn it, you basically you're not even going to stand still. You're going to go back the way, because everybody else, if they're continuing to improve, then you'll soon find yourself in a difficult situation.
That said, I love golf, and I had my first golf lesson in 20 years about a year ago. So I preach this stuff. I don't always, but I do think in business and in work, both of us have always tried to sort of like, right, what's the next thing? How can we do this better? How can we be more efficient with what we're doing? What new stuff's out there that could make us look better and be better and stuff. So,
and when it comes to the golf, who's the best at the moment?
Me.
Yeah, he still beats me every time we play, more or less.
Well, you scored a good round last week, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I was 11 over last week.
Yeah, that's
my
very
handicap's
tidy.
17, so it's 6 shots better.
Yeah, so I'm getting a bit worried now, actually.
Yeah,
doing that.
I mean, eventually you should. Like, you're a wee bit older than Dan, so eventually you should start to come down.
I've passed my prime.
Hopefully by the time he's in a wheelchair, I'll might be scoring better than him.
My golf game is not getting any better, but I think that's because I'm not playing. So it's one of those.
We've still not had a round together, have we?
No, we haven't. We need to do that, actually. Funnily enough, I was speaking to someone up in Scotland about that last week, about potentially the next time you're up trying to get a game of golf. So yeah, it might happen eventually. So looking at the Digital Accountancy Show, I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. I think it's the best show in the accountancy sector. I am obviously biased because of the fact that you two, it's your show. But genuinely, it is. I almost felt a little bit bad because I didn't come the first couple of years, and then it was 2 years ago was the first time I came, and I obviously I'd seen the videos, I'd heard other people talking about it, but like I was blown away. I was like, wow, I can't believe my mates have like they're doing this. It's just incredible. And I'd say this year was even better again. Next year looks like it's going to be better, but talk to us about the early stages, because it wasn't. It I'm sure a lot of people will have forgotten how you got to where you got to, but it wasn't plain sailing at all, was it?
No. I've still got PTSD from it all, I think, to be honest. Look, we had done 9-10 months worth of work on the show. All the speakers, exhibitors, sponsorship, venue, AV, operations, a lot of work went into it, and
paid a lot of money as well.
Paid a lot of money, I was all in financially. Like, I used all my savings that went into the business and just paying the mortgage and bills at home. So I was kind of all in, down to my last like 500 quid, whatever. And then you start seeing the news reports that this kind of virus is going around, and actually it just got worse and worse and worse. And we were at the point of watching Boris Johnson every second of every day on the TV, thinking, I hope this isn't going where I think it's going. And it did. And
our first event was due to be March, wasn't
March
it?
the 26th.
And January was when COVID all started sort of getting into the press and stuff.
I think the numbers in the UK at the start of March were pretty minimal, but events started, especially the big tech events, they
Yeah.
started to go, no, we're not doing this. And we had loads of messages of encouragement saying, like, we're behind if you want to run this. And at that time it wasn't a real risk, and then it just kind of every day just got worse and worse. And then when we finally made the decision to kind of postpone it all and push it all back, it was actually a big, like, I felt like a massive relief, because we were having to speak to people every day about what the latest kind of situation was and what we were planning. And something that hasn't happened in 100 years happened to fall in the 1 month that we were due to run our event.
I'll tell you what we won't forget though is just the support we had from the accountancy industry, because a lot of people already paid us money for their stands, and virtually nobody asked their money back and said, no, we're going to back you guys when it happens. And you'll never forget that.
No, that will,
it's just amazing.
That will live with me forever. There was, some people reached out to me, some people called me up and said, don't worry, we've got your back, just roll the money into the next event whenever you guys can do it. And I'll never forget those conversations. I remember being on a train coming back out from London, going back home, and somebody calling me up, and I was literally like in tears on the phone, like trying not to trying to hold it all together, basically, like, not blobbing like or anything, but just very emotional. And the level of support that we got, and that was kind of tied into the first 12 months of running a business is generally hard anyway. You're trying to pay the bills, you're trying to get the sales in and the cash flow into the business to pay yourself a little bit.
Well, we didn't earn any money for the first 9 months, did we? So
I think it was even longer than that.
I mean, we paid our first amount of money was about £3,000 each. And it felt like £100,000.
It did.
My God, money's gone into my bank account.
So that's just like the one thing you need to be prepared for when you start a business is be prepared that you might not make any money the first 12 months.
And expect the unexpected. But I mean, because there's just no way that you could have anticipated that was going to happen. I think what you're saying there about the accountancy industry and the vendors and stuff like that being supportive. I mean, I'd say this, and this is maybe just a little bit to anybody listening within the industry. I genuinely think the accountancy industry is an industry like no other.
It's brilliant.
And having worked in various industries, I've not felt and seen that community kind of feel that there is within the accountancy industry. It's partly why we decided we wanted to do this podcast, is to try and, we want to work with accountants, and this is not about us talking about mesh today, but we want to work with accountants and partner with them, but we don't want to just be like, oh yeah, we just want you to introduce us to our clients. We want to be a positive part of that community. And if we can do that in a small part with our podcast, then great. But I certainly feel as if looking from the outside in at the Digital Accountancy Show, I think that's like really enhanced that. Would you say that's a feeling that's?
We'd like to think so. We try to create sort of a community and an experience for people that they just want to keep enjoying and keep going back to every time. And it's lovely. We ran an event for leaders in accountancy about 2-3 weeks ago, and there was 9 or 10 people there that I've known for nearly 20 years that came along, and I was just really touched that they came, and I hopefully they had a really good day. They said they did anyway, but like, it was just lovely, and it's just that says so much about accountants and the profession, but the industry as well, just great people, and backed up by what we were just saying about the support they gave us when we first launched the event, and during COVID, and I know this has been talked about before, but the amount to watch the industry come together during COVID and jump on WhatsApp groups, and actually lots of kind of smaller communities have sprung off the back of that, and people just helping each other out with different things within the space, and whether it was kind of furlough payments at the time, or it's just nice to see like lots of communities kind of dotted around where they're supporting one another. But I'd agree that the accountancy profession is really special, and there's definitely a certain element of togetherness with it. So we definitely try and kind of lead on that for the show, and try our best to facilitate that kind of coming together as well.
because it's a good opportunity to catch up, network, and build relationships.
Yeah.
I think going back to that event we just did a couple of weeks ago as well, there was a tube strike on that day, and we had over 200 accountants turn up for the event, which was phenomenal, wasn't it, really? Because it was a right pain in the arse getting to a venue in the centre of London with a tube strike on. But just says everything about their approach and attitude to wanting to get better, learn, collaborate, which is brilliant. And I think, as a country, we're very lucky to have a profession like that supporting businesses and things.
See, on that though, like, so see when you started the digital accounts, because it is different, like, without naming any other events and stuff like that, like, there isn't another event that has the same feel to what the Digital Accountancy Show has. Were you worried at all that maybe, like, it wasn't going to hit in what is seen as a traditional industry, and maybe people, I mean, I say that people are more reserved. I think we've all worked with accountants for long enough now, that actually that stereotype doesn't really hold true. But were you worried about it, or did you just think, no, this is how I want to do it, or how we want to do it, and hope for the best?
Well, I don't think so. Like, we'd been to, like, in doing our research, we'd been to trade shows, exhibitions, tech events, startup events, tech events over in Portugal, Lisbon, and we kind of knew what we liked and what we didn't like. And I get a huge amount of kind of energy and motivation from the creation part of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have no motivation if I was just setting up another traditional trade show exhibition.
Yeah.
Like, so for me, it was either we do it like this and we go down this route, or I don't want to do it at all.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to create, we wanted to create something really unique, something where the kind of experience is put first alongside and doubling down on really thought out, meaningful content. So I was never nervous about the approach.
No, I think, like, in business, it's just so important to be different and ideally better than your competition. So, and the two businesses I'd really worked in before that, we really worked hard at that. Just how can we be different? What can we offer that's different from anyone else out there? And if you do that, it does give you a certain confidence that people are going to respond well to it. And we also wanted to create an event where it was an experience, Dan, wasn't it? It didn't just look good. It was an experience, like, in terms of different type of content that you might not get at other events. Just felt there was an energy in the room that was different to any other event.
The brand, the music.
Yeah.
The opening video.
Yeah.
Or when we turned the lasers on for the first time.
That was amazing. Yeah.
This is cool.
Because it's evolved. I mean, we started at Tottenham Hotspur Football Ground, which was a great first venue because it was brand new stadium at the time, and I think some people turned up, dare I say it, just to see the stadium, never mind come to the event. But we needed somewhere like that, I think, to sort of get it to lift off quite quickly. But then we moved to London Evolution, where we blacked out the whole venue and we had incredible lighting and lasers, and a special moment for me, and unfortunately Dan wasn't with me, but I remember telling you about it, and I know it meant a lot to you, is we wanted to create something where people would walk in and just go, wow. And I was behind these two ladies walking into the event who were accountants, and they didn't know I was behind them, and I heard them just go, wow, God, that's incredible. Like, and that was what we wanted to create, wasn't it? You know, it was like that. We were so chuffed to hear and experience that. And but I think in business, it's so important just to create something that's just different, and there's a bit of excitement about it, and it's, I don't like the word disruptive because that's almost like, but something that's just different from the norm, and not me too.
Well, you certainly achieved that. Just as a little kind of side story, so this year when I was there, I kind of stood just at the side of the stage when you done the opening bit, and obviously the bloody fire, whatever the fire cannon thing got over, I could feel the heat. But I actually, rather than spending, like, focusing on you and what you were, I was looking at the crowd and just seeing everybody else, and it was like people were just, they were fixated on it. Nice. Everybody was just so engaged.
Do you know where the fire idea came from?
Where?
I was in Las Vegas the year before.
I thought you were going to go back to
we won't talk about that. But I went to Las Vegas and I went to see the Swedish House Mafia at Excess nightclub, and it was all going off and stuff. And then all of a sudden, this kind of big burst of fire kind of came out of the top of the hotel, but you could feel the heat, and just feeling the heat just made me go, "Wow, that's pretty cool, pretty special." So when we looked into it and realised, well, actually, it's pretty good in terms of like the investment and stuff. So.
But we kept it a secret to ourselves.
Yeah,
because
we did. We didn't tell anyone. Even
we always
like
get told
Ralph.
off for spending too much money on things. So
we
quite
might,
rightly sometimes.
We do overspend the budget on production sometimes.
But we wanted. You just want to every year have something different where people go, "Oh wow, it's gone up another level." You know, it's that's the sort of intention.
That segued quite nice into my thought that I had in my head is, so now it is the next level. You guys are moving venues next year. Anything you can tell us? What should people expect?
It won't be like another trade show.
It won't be we are moving to a venue where there are thousands of trade shows happening in it every year. But what I can hand and heart say is that we were doubling down on the experience side of things.
Yeah.
If you thought what we did in our previous venues was good, we're going to blow you away at XL with what we're planning and the production levels and much higher ceilings and the framework that's in there and blacking out the space. And, of course, we're going to kind of double down on the content again and make sure that it's super relevant, meaningful, and we're bringing in great speakers from all around the world. But from an experience point of view and a place where people can network, have meetings, have one-to-one chats and all that kind of good stuff. We're planning stuff that is just a whole nother universe in terms of the event production and what it's going to look like and feel like. So we kind of literally sit there planning everything out, absolutely buzzing and so excited with some of these ideas that we're working on, and nothing's off the table. Like, we literally consider everything and anything when it comes to like organising an event at that size and scale. But it just means we can go bigger and better with absolutely everything.
But I mean, what I would say is just back to what Dan said earlier, though, is the content is what it's all about for us, and we've got some great new ideas on that. You're not going to come to our event and hear the same speakers you might have heard for the last 5 years. There will be some there because there's some great speakers out there you just want to have at your event, but you'll come to our event and walk away hopefully with 5-10 amazing new ideas for your practice that will hopefully be really exciting for you as a firm over the next few years. And we spend so long working on the content, reaching out to people, and we've had a guy called Jason Stats come to our last 2 conferences who came over from America, and obviously it's quite expensive to get one of the biggest speakers in America to come over for the event, but we felt it was worth it because it just added a unique, different perspective to our event. I don't think we'll be able to say Jason for a 3rd year, and much as it's been brilliant, we want to have new people as well and new voices and new content at the show. But there's going to be a lot of exciting new content at the show as well.
When is it next year? Because this year it was the 1st of April, wasn't it? This year? Or first and 2nd, was it?
Yeah.
When is it happening?
Next year, 7th and 8th of October.
7th and 8th of
October.
So
year to year.
I think one of the benefits of Excel as well, without going too much about it, is it's much easier to get to as well. We loved our last venue. It was a lovely part of London, but it was actually quite hard to get to.
Yeah.
Whereas Excel is 20 minutes from Paddington. It's it's very, very accessible. And
I booked us into a rather shoddy hotel this year, myself and Mark, which he doesn't let me live down. It was round about that area, but we were right next to the train tracks, and he said we would have been as well sleeping on the train tracks. So yes, my bad on that one. But he's made up for it this week because he got us into an Airbnb that we're in for the next couple of nights, and it's interesting, shall we say.
Yeah.
So you've got the Digital Accountancy Show, but there's another show coming as well, isn't there, which I've seen you've posted some information on earlier this week, I think.
Yeah, so where we've seen, when we kind of look at the audience, we've seen this kind of growth in CFOs, finance directors and in-house finance teams come to the event. And whilst we've always put on talks for that audience, and we've always had a number of exhibitors. Actually, it was a bit sporadic across the show, and some of the feedback was, well, maybe if we could kind of like consolidate that all into one space and its own kind of unique brand and show, then actually that will make it more meaningful for heads of finance, CFOs to come down to the show. And ultimately the finance world is changing so much as a result of technology. There's so much disruption. It's allowing heads of finance and finance teams to evolve, do things more efficiently, provide greater insight into the business, fuel growth, which is what all our kind of mission for that show is all about, which is ultimately to create smarter finance. Because if we're creating smarter finance, hopefully we're unlocking better decision making, which therefore will fuel profitability and growth, securing jobs, supply chains and ecosystems. So that's kind of like the core of everything we're doing. So if people are providing products or platforms or services that enable finance teams to be smarter and provide smarter finance functions, then that's what the whole thing is about, really. So we've spoken to we got Gen CFO as our kind of official community partner.
Wow.
Which we're really excited about with Chris and Kira and the team there. We've also got the ACCA on board. We're talking to lots of potential exhibitors. The whole kind of ERP, AI transformation world is really starting to take off. So that's really exciting to see some of the developments that are happening there. You know, I was at an event last night with Stacks AI, who are all about automating the month ends for multi-entity and bigger businesses using AI and agentic AI and agents and stuff. So yeah, really, really exciting. I think there's a big need for it. I think it's a space that's underserved from a education point of view. And I think we can do a great job in introducing senior finance leaders with some of the coolest tech that's out there to help streamline, automate, and make a real impact to finance teams right across the country as well.
It's been interesting that a lot of our content we've put on in the past, although it's been focused more on practicing accountants, how there's been a lot of crossover between in-house finance teams. A couple of my friends are FDs, and they've come along to the last couple of years, and one I remember saying, it's been brilliant, I've got so much out of the day, and I was actually genuinely surprised that he was so positive about it. So although a lot of the content already is very relevant to that group, to have two dedicated, might even have three dedicated stages just to in-house finance people will be really exciting. I think in how we can grow our audience among that sort of group, and I think it will be it'd be brilliant. And also a lot of our exhibitors, they sell to both groups, so that's quite good for them as well. But there'll be a lot larger market now as well for
so is that going to run at the same time as the
co-locate, they call it in events world. So we have the Digital Finance Show alongside the Digital Accountancy Show. But like James says, there's a lot, it's not just going to be, you guys are over here and you guys are over here. We still expect quite a large amount to be fluid and moving across the show. There's not like any walls put up or anything like that, because even we had a talk a couple of years ago with Michael Mills, who's the Finance Transformation Director at Jaguar Land Rover, just talking about how Jaguar Land Rover have made a significant impact to their bottom line through employing data teams, and the importance of good data, harness data right across the organisation can make a big impact, and that's relevant to every business. So there's lots of crossover, but we're going to be making more of a play alongside DAS on the financial side of things.
I think it's a cracking idea, and I mean maybe this is just my own thinking on it, but because we work with lots of accountants, we work with kind of fractional CFOs, outsourced finance teams, and I would guess that there's maybe some people that wouldn't have necessarily thought the Digital Accountancy Show was for them, because they were more outsourced finance or in-house, that actually by having that kind of clearly defined, this is actually its own part of the show, that you'll get more people that go, actually that's something I should be coming to. So it opens it up to more people, which is great. But also think, on the other side of things, for those accountants, more and more accountants that I speak to are looking to try and fulfil the role of the kind of outsourced finance function. So if they can get a bit more of that type of stuff, I see it's a win-win for both sides, really.
Yeah.
Which is great. What do you see as the kind of the big opportunities for accountants? And we should say this, like none of us three are accountants, but we all work with accountants and work in the space. Where do you see, or even from the conversations that you're having, do you see the kind of the big opportunity, or one of the big opportunities?
First.
I think what cloud technology has enabled accountants to do, and some are doing it really well, others still trying to find their way, is this whole thing around more relationships with clients, more touch points during the year, possibly more interesting work as a result of that. And therefore that should mean, if we're having more conversations, there's more touch points, that should hopefully open up conversations around different opportunities, whether it be, insurance services or funding services or advisory and forecasting, management accounting, business planning, tech advisory. They're all kind of opportunities that have kind of arisen as a result of cloud technology allowing that kind of collaborative way of working accountants and clients. I think as these products get more automated and AI begins to develop and some real significant use cases come to play, that should accelerate all of that. Like, it should accelerate more meaningful, closer working relationships, maybe some of the kind of outsourced finance function, CFO stuff. So I think, I don't think the AI tool of the century, or maybe it is kind of out there now, but I don't think there's not anything that I'm aware of going around in the market at the moment that is kind of changing lives. But all I do know is that AI and agentic AI and agents, we're right at the very start.
Yeah.
And that is going to significantly free up the transactional data processing, manual entry work. So the big opportunity kind of is AI, but it isn't. It's what the result of it will be, which will be better relationships with clients and, I think, more interesting work.
I think seeing AI as your friend, not your enemy, as well, is sort of really important. I've got a friend of mine who's very senior in accountancy practice, said that AI keeps him up awake at night sometimes because he's worried it's going to replace him and his colleagues and stuff. As I think what it should be doing is actually freeing accountants up to do what they're really good at and become brilliant business advisors or even better business advisors, and take away the more manual work so you can concentrate on all the stuff where you really add value to a business, and makes your relationships even tighter with your clients and stuff, because you're adding so much value and things.
That's what I think the opportunity is having better, stronger relationships with clients and being able to spend more time with them. I think if there's anybody sitting thinking that there won't be job displacement, is probably I don't want to say delusional, that's a bit strong, but there will be.
It will replace the jobs that people don't really want to do.
Exactly, yeah.
So, but then, free you up to do the stuff you really do want to do.
We probably couldn't even envisage what the new cool jobs that are going to be around, in the next 5 years. I mean, we've all got young kids. Your boys are teenagers now,
16 and 14 now.
Yeah, so it won't be long until they're entering into the working world. But even by the time they get going, they're probably going to do a job that we don't even know exists. For our kids, I mean, I would almost, my boys either want to be football players or YouTubers. So they might be able to do that. But yeah, I would imagine that there'll be lots of jobs and just more interesting jobs that I think bring out the best of us as humans and the connections with people. So I'm really excited about kind of where the future lies. I guess for yourselves, where other than the fact that you've got all of this, the move in the show and everything else, but where do you see things in the next, I don't know, 2, 3, 5 years?
So for us, we want to make sure that the UK show carries on growing at the rate it's growing and serving a purpose and bringing together the community. And the mission behind DAS was all these things we're talking about with the evolving accountancy market, from historically being kind of backwards looking compliance services into all this kind of forward looking stuff and services we're helping the clients. And really the mission behind the show was to support that evolution that was happening in the industry. We want to kind of carry on that mission, and it's a really important event for us. We also now partnered with Easy Fairs, who are the 13th biggest events and exhibition organizer in the world. And part of their kind of focus for us is to take the brand and the mission overseas, into different territories. So in terms of what we'll be doing over the next kind of 2 to 3 years, we are currently in a process of exploring new markets, which is quite cool to do for the first time.
Awesome.
So speaking to accountants and vendors in different regions in kind of North America and Australia and Europe, and just learning different industries and learning the accountancy market in the US is different state by state, but then certain tax seasons, then you've got this difference in Germany, and Australia is obviously very different as well. So that's super interesting at the moment. So it's quite exciting to be involved in that process, and exploring new territories for them. So watch this space.
And I think as well, like what's been great for us as being part of Easy Fairs, working with them, is just we've got this huge team and infrastructure behind us which we've never had before, and some brilliant minds and people that can help and advise us. And go back to like the new show and stuff, we've got this huge marketing team now that can help us like engage and reach all these sort of CFOs and FDs that might not have heard of us before. So that's like really exciting how that's going to sort of pan out over the next couple of years, because it was just Dan and I and Esther really before, to run a show for 5,000 people. It'll be hopefully 7,000 now, and in 26, just the three of you, that's quite a lot of work. But also, we've worked in events. We're not from a real event sort of background as such, Dan, are we? Accountancy is more our sort of background, and you realise you've been quite naive about certain things over the years, and we've got all this expertise to support and help us now, which has been brilliant.
Oh no, superb. I mean, I'm sure that if you do put on an event somewhere where it's sunny,
You're coming.
I will come. I will come. I'll put my hand up. I will come and man the meshed stand. But I guess one of the things that I wanted to ask you is because I've been, so we came this year and took a stand for the first time, and that was really our introduction into the accountancy market. Next year I'm sure we are signed up.
You are, yeah.
To come again. But one of the things, having done loads and loads of events and been, had a lot of success out of them over the years, is there any advice you would give to someone who is potentially, even folk who actually are coming to the Digital Accountancy Show, as a vendor, to get the best out of it? Because really, it's what you put into it is what you get out. Or that's my kind of really thinking of it. But what advice would you give to folk?
God, we could go on for ages here, Dan, couldn't we? But I think it's massive. Like, the more you time and effort you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. Like, we put on, I like to think, a really good event where you're going to meet loads of good senior people. But if you spend a lot, shall I start sort of talking? And
I can jump in.
I think like sort of preparing, promoting the fact you're going to the event, but then reaching out to people that are going to go to the event before it, to arrange meetings, catch up for a coffee, even reach out to people you don't know that say, well, we're exhibiting, it'd be great to see you there, etc. and stuff. It means before you even arrive, you might have 20 brilliant meetings already set up. You're already going to get great ROI from the event before you've even got there. I think taking people to the event that will be really good at engaging with people, don't mind sort of walking up to strangers and making conversation and networking and stuff. So having the right people on the stand and people with lots of energy and friendly people, obviously, that's super important. Possibly sometimes, we were saying to someone this morning, we meet, don't take too many people possibly as well. You don't want your stand to be overcrowded with staff. You want it to be quite a place that people feel comfortable to go and walk in and chat to you. But then the follow-up following the show is super important.
Yeah.
If you've, I think the average leads at our event last year was 146 per exhibitor.
Wow.
Which is great, but if you don't then follow up, email, reach out to them afterwards, get meetings organised, it's not going to translate into loads of new business, which is what we all want everyone to have, and obviously as an exhibitor you want to have.
Just jump in there, Derek, before you go. Like, it's great having 146 leads to follow up, but it's even better to have a load of meetings booked in the diary off the back of it.
Yeah.
We always recommend, because when you've got them at the show, you've got a really good chance of getting your phone out, getting your calendar done, and booking in the meeting or the call there and then. As soon as they've walked out of that door, we all know how hard the follow-up is. They go back into work, they're busy kind of day-to-day, managing the team, managing clients, deadlines to hit, 1,000 emails coming in. Like, it's really hard to then get through all that noise to book the meeting. So we always recommend doing it kind of on site. And I know sometimes, if you're based in Scotland and the guy who's in front of you is based in London and it's not your patch, there's a bit of a disconnect there. And I would say, well, get the meeting in for your colleague and that sort of stuff.
It's always easier to move a meeting than it is to get it in the
exactly.
first place.
Like, it's so important. But I also think, like, thinking about the smaller details as well, like even going into, if you're on a stand and you're giving away free candy floss, you're not coming to the show just to give away free candy floss to everyone. So what's the process or the structure from somebody saying, can I have some free candy floss, please? How do you convert that interaction into a sales conversation? And we have exhibitors where they're giving away all this free stuff. They're not even scanning leads to, at the very least, collect some data from scanning people. And I know that's not what we're there for. We're not there to scan data, but we're there to have kind of serious sales and opportunity conversations. And we need to think out what are we going to say. So if I'm coming over to see your magician, how do we turn that into a sales conversation? By the way, before I give this free candy floss, can I just ask you if you do X, Y, Z? And then that's it. The conversation is off. You can do some fact finding. You can give them a quick 2-minute spiel into what you guys do. That sounds great. Can we book a call in for that kind of dialogue? I think is so important, and I think people just like either come over for a swag or come over for a bit of a chat. And I don't think enough. And you always kind of like banged the sales technique drum kind of when I worked with UPFP and at FMC. And it's a bit like the Tiger Woods analogy. Like, if you are a degree or two off in golf, or what is it you always say? Sales is really easy to do well, but it's also very easy to do badly.
Yes,
and it's so true. Like, you only have to get like a bit of that dialogue right, and you might be able to convert 10% of the conversations you're having to meetings into 50% of the conversations you're having at a show to meetings. And I really think that's probably something that's missed at shows, that people are probably not saying the right thing, and they're not closing off that mini conversation in the right way to convert it into a meeting and to convert it into ROI. And James and I, as great as event organisers as we are, and we bring in 5,000 of the right people to the show, what we can't control is what people are saying to attendees at the stand, how effective that person is on the stand, and then we can't control how effective that salesperson is with their follow-up. Like, we just can't control that. What we can control is we can bring in 5,000 amazing people. We can build you great stands, we can put on great content, but then it's kind of it's down to you guys.
The last couple of years we've run like 3 webinars leading up to the event for our exhibitors, just to give them advice and tips on stuff like that. So if you are exhibiting this year, please do try and listen to those again.
They are really good.
You might know some of it, but hopefully
I was going to say, as you were talking about that, and then you kind of touched on it, Dan, is when we done events and stuff like that, I was having flashbacks there of the James Howell playbook of how we done things. But hey, that's why we were successful as a team, is because we done things right, we done the follow up right. We made sure that when we were on stands and stuff like that we came with energy, that we were prepared, that we were having good conversations, and like you said, that trying to book in the meeting on the stand. We done quite a bit of that at this year's event, and it worked brilliantly, as opposed to those ones where we didn't do that, and some of them we did manage to continue the conversation, but there's a few of them that were like, really positive, really good conversations, and through just people being busy and stuff like that, it never got any further than that because we missed the opportunity. But no, I think that's some absolutely cracking advice for people that are coming along. One of the things that I like to do, because we are running out of time, but one of the things that I like to do on the podcast with people, actually we were recording one earlier today, and we literally ran into a hard deadline, so I couldn't do it. But I'd like to think I'm a really positive person, and I like to kind of be a positive influence in people that I interact with. We're all on social media. Most of the people that are going to watch this will probably see it through LinkedIn or something like that. And there are a lot of great people on LinkedIn. I hear a lot of people criticising it, and the reach is down and blah blah blah. This has been written by AI and it's the same drivel, yada yada yada. But there's some great people, and I always ask people, who's somebody. And I know this is going to be hard because it's like you showing who's your favourite child type thing. You won't want to be kind of showing favouritism over one person or another, but who's somebody that you are connected with or follow online that you think other people should be connected with or should be following, that it may be a big personality, or it could be somebody that's a bit kind of lesser known, but they're they're putting out great content, or they've just got a great way about them.
I love your posts. I genuinely do.
Yeah, Fleck the dog.
I do. No, I think you're brilliant, and I know we're mates and stuff, but I love reading your stuff. It's like, and you put out really good stuff that makes me think. I know stuff that we both think, but I think, I've forgotten that actually. Yeah, that's why I should be thinking, or I should be doing that. So I'm going to be really boring and say Derek Granger.
Oh my God, man, this is definitely going to be the clip that goes out. I'm living off of this for the next 12 months.
I definitely can't concur. No, I like people that give away their IP for free.
Yeah.
They get it, right? They get the way we're going to build trust and thought leadership and brand and followership is through giving away value. And the people that spring to mind when I think of that are Daniel Priestley.
Yeah, I love Daniel Priestley.
Stephen Bartlett, and more specific to the accountancy sector is James Ashford.
Yeah,
James gives away all his IP, gives away all the value. And if you can take kind of one nugget, I look for each video he posts. I look for one. What's the nugget? What's the one nugget I can take from this? And if he can help one business owner off the back of one of his posts or a series of posts, then it's all worth it, isn't it? So James is.
I met James about 6 months ago now. He came and done a talk at the RBS Accelerator, and I asked him a question, and he gave me, I won't go into it today because it's not relevant, but he gave me some great advice, and I will be eternally grateful to him for that. But yeah, I absolutely love him. Interestingly, Stephen Bartlett, it was you that put me onto him years and years ago and said you need to listen to this podcast.
I just saw something on a really great. This comes back to actually your point actually about who we should follow, and the nugget that I took. He did a video or a post this week, and he basically now pays a team to try and kill his business, and he got that from the founder of IBM. So basically what he does, he's got a team of 8, I think, that sit in his office, and they have to come up with ideas and ways to try and kill his current business.
Wow.
Yeah, so what do we need to do to be innovative to destroy that business? And then all those ideas that come out, they put into their business.
That's going back to what we were talking about earlier about how you've got to keep improving, be different and stuff, isn't it? That is fascinating.
Like it's if we were trying to create a better event than what we currently have, what are some of the things that we would introduce and do? Yeah, we should have that conversation.
I'm just thinking that. But you have to just keep getting better.
It's kind of part of our DNA in a way that we kind of do that. But actually, I think it's a really.
I still think we'll do that though.
Yeah, no, I think we should actually dig quite deep into it. But social media is great, and you there is a load of stuff on there, and I'm kind of more guilty than anyone that I probably use it a bit too much as a kind of a broadcasty sales thing when I'm promoting a webinar or whatever, and I'd love to do more kind of human more human, kind of personal posts, probably a bit more like what you do. It's fine, obviously finding the time to do it. But if you can find like the nuggets and the gems that are out there, and they are out there, then it can change your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's some people just doing fantastic stuff. I won't go into any names today.
Go on,
I think everybody should follow you guys. I mean, in accountancy, I would say, yeah, absolutely. You've got to be following Dave. Dave was on the podcast. He was one of our first guests, and has been a great supporter of what we're trying to do at Mesh. So again, someone, I just think he's a positive influence. He's got his own views on things that maybe aren't kind of shared by everybody, but he's great at it.
What an innovative guy as well, though.
I've got another one. There's just one to mine. Billy McLaughlin.
Yes.
Oh yes, brilliant. Yeah,
superstar.
Yeah.
Definitely follow Billy. Yeah,
Billy for all the latest in AI. She's really kind of got her finger on the pulse there. She does her Friday.
Friday.
She's absolutely amazing. And again, is another one who kind of delivers value to her audience and her community, and is going to do massive things.
Absolutely. Well, listen, guys, it has been an absolute pleasure. I was looking forward to it. It didn't disappoint, certainly from my side anyway. You can have a conversation about that on your next meeting.
But lovely to see you, Derek.
Well, great hosting skills from you as well, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Where'd you get that from?
That was
very good.
You've got nothing written down, there's no notes.
Yeah.
It was just all off the cuff.
I learned it for you guys. So, no, thank you so much. For anybody that isn't following Dan and James or the Digital Accountancy Show, you absolutely should. If you haven't been yet, why? So I would suggest that you go. The salesman in me, there's always a salesman in me. If anybody does want to actually take a stand at the show, are there still any left?
Yeah, we have some left, but they are going quite quick. I'm probably sounding a salesman myself there, but if you are interested, please do get in touch, because we're people are a lot of the space
price doubles on Friday.
No, we'd love to have a chat with you,
Excellent. Thank you so much, guys. And thanks to everybody who has either watched or listened in. Until the next time, cheers. Take care.